Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news where we go over all the upcoming VR game releases, recap last week's news, and then focus on one major story. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we have a surprisingly large list of new releases, game updates, and new footage from yet to be released titles. Some Google AR prototypes will be in the wild starting next month. We'll discuss mature content in Horizon Worlds. And finally, Pico is trying to pull ahead of the Quest with an upcoming Pico Neo 4 and Pico Neo 4 Pro. Now, there are, of course, links and timestamps to everything I will be discussing, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by Kiwi Design, my favorite site for VR accessories. If you're looking for a super comfy and extra durable elite strap that won't suddenly snap on you, Kiwi has you covered. They also have plenty of additional accessories like replacement facial covers, controller covers, link cables, pulley systems, you name it, they have it. There's a link down in the description if you want to check out their site, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support this channel. Okay, so let's start this video off with new releases, and first up is the shooter Shock Troops. Inspired by classic FPS titles like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, Shock Troops is delivering some fast-paced in-your-face action, featuring a mixture of 3D environments and two-dimensional sprites. That combination is extremely reminiscent of Duke Nukem 3D and has the potential to work extremely well in VR. I'm not expecting a genre-defining shooter here, but it looks to have the right combination of graphics, action, and pacing to deliver an extremely fun VR game. Now, our next new release is a PCVR title making its way onto the Quest 2, and that's Cooking Simulator VR. Rather than the extremely quirky, over-the-top cooking games that are already out there, Cooking Simulator does have an emphasis on realism. It features highly polished, realistic kitchens equipped with all your standard utensils. There's over 80 recipes to master and dozens of ingredients to use, and the title does feature some real-life physics. Now, while the game does focus more on simulation, don't worry, there's plenty of fun in there too. Okay, so that was this week's rather short list of new releases, but we do have plenty of updates for existing titles for those of you not looking to purchase any new games. First up is the new Labyrinth DLC for Walkabout Minigolf. This DLC features 18 new holes and some labyrinth-themed avatar customization. The Walkabout Minigolf team is working in conjunction with the Jim Henson studio to help bring their classic movie to life in Walkabout Minigolf. Overall, it's a fantastic setting to see this game move into, and I love how they just keep banging out new updates. Speaking of new updates, Zero Caliber is also getting a PvP mode this week. So jump into some 4v4 action with the standard PvP modes, Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Gun Game, and Capture the Flag. The update will be available to Quest users this Thursday, July 28th, with the PCVR update coming later this year. Now, another title receiving an update is Takelings House Party, my favorite asymmetrical title. Takelings has one person playing in VR, while up to 8 additional players join either from their cell phone or using a traditional gamepad, playing as little creatures known as Takelings. Each room in this title is a separate minigame, and now the garage will have you directly fighting those Takelings in a 1v8 battle of whatever you can get your hands on. Takelings has an amazing sense of style, and it's my favorite party game, but if you rather play something online, our next title is Disc Ninja. This stylized frisbee golf game has enlisted the help of a professional disc golfer and tweaked their in-game physics, enhancing the in-game feel for both veterans and new players alike. They're also promising some upcoming new maps, new discs, and a new classical approach to disc golf. So if you enjoy games like Walkabout Minigolf, but you're looking for a change of pace, you might want to look into Disc Ninja. And our final update today is a huge one. The beloved retro-themed roguelite shooter Compound has finally released version 1.0. After years in early access and a continuous stream of overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, the full release is here, and they've added a new playable demo, so you could check out some of the great updates. For Quest gamers, there's no official release date just yet, but it is coming later this year. On the topic of games coming later this year, we just got some new gameplay footage from both Red Matter 2 and Gambit, both of which are looking fantastic. Red Matter 2 highlights the fact that they are using a highly modified version of the Unreal Engine and pushing Quest 2 graphics to their absolute max. Particle effects, impressive reflections, realistic human characters and shadows. It looks like this title is pulling out all the stops. The original Red Matter was already known for being a great looking title, and that was back on the Quest 1 days. Well, in a little bit less than a month, we'll find out how truly impressive this title is. And the same goes for the crazy, over-the-top co-op shooter Gambit. We got about 40 seconds of alpha gameplay footage, which looks extremely intense, and features a wide array of different weapons from defibrillators to chainsaws. Gambit remains on my top 10 list of upcoming titles for 2022, and I can't wait to jump into this one. And finally, we have an interesting looking Kickstarter for Blacktop Hoops. There's very few VR sports games out there, and something about this title reminds me of the classic NBA Jam title, and there's currently a free alpha demo available on both Steam and Applab if you want to check this game out. It's scheduled to release sometime in 2023, and has a Kickstarter coming in the near future. Okay, so we have one final game story, and it's definitely not a good one. Ubisoft has cancelled Splinter Cell VR. Now, I can't say I'm surprised here. It's been years since this title was announced, and we've seen absolutely nothing. Ubisoft is also financially suffering lately, and there's even rumors that someone is going to buy them out. Now, this also makes me wonder what's going to happen to Assassin's Creed VR, or its official name, Nexus VR. Now, personally, I don't think it will be cancelled. From the leaks, it looked like it was already really far in development, and with a company that's suffering financially, they will want to make a return. That being said though, I don't have high hopes that the title will actually be good. The leaks already had me concerned, and now I think they're just going to cut a few additional corners. When we get really buggy releases, that's usually when the money men at bigger studios say enough is enough, release this project, we're not spending any more time and money on it. Some prime examples were Wolfenstein Cyberpilot and Doom VFR. So I'm pretty scared Nexus VR is destined to go down the same path. But let's move into some good news, starting with Google AR prototypes going into the wild starting next month. A small select group of individuals will have access to AR products that feature cameras, microphones, and will be able to overlay information to the users. Now, you won't have to worry about your privacy, as these devices will not have recording enabled, but they will be used for testing things like turn-by-turn navigation and active translation, where you could see a text-based translation of what someone is saying to you in another language. I'm absolutely pumped for when stuff like this becomes mainstream, as it has the potential to truly change the world. But changing the world starts with baby steps, and that's what Meta has done with Horizon Worlds, introducing an 18+ tag to prevent younger individuals from seeing certain content. Currently, there is a lot of concern over these social apps and what children are experiencing in virtual worlds. We've all seen some insane clickbait titles referencing extreme harassment in the metaverse, and while these articles may be over the top, there is a real concern here. Another benefit of having 18+ worlds is older individuals do not have to worry about younger children ruining their experience, which is a complaint I hear surprisingly often. And while we're on the topic of meta and socializing, Andrew Bosworth recently gave us some information on why the company originally forced users to use a Facebook account. Now, while I'm sure there may have been other motives, they said the major factor was when looking at statistics, those who had friends played longer and purchased more games. So financially, this just made sense. But now they came to the understanding that you may want to separate your virtual presence from your real life presence, and they're disabling the Facebook requirement starting next month. Now, another change on the horizon is standalone VR developers Pico getting more aggressive against Meta. If you're not familiar with Pico, they were recently bought out by ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok. Now, while ByteDance is currently playing catch up to Meta, we are finally dealing with another company that can financially compete. They're currently worth over $400 billion, making them extremely close to Meta, and they've already delivered a device comparable to the Quest 2. From a hardware standpoint, the Pico Neo 3 Link not only competes with the Quest 2, but also slightly surpasses it. Now, software-wise though, they are definitely dragging behind. But now the company is looking to overtake Meta, and an FCC filing can be found for the Pico Neo 4 and Pico Neo 4 Pro. Not much is known about these headsets just yet, but it will use Android Q, feature a Qualcomm processor, and have some newly updated controllers. The Pro version will include eye and facial tracking, and ByteDance is also currently hiring a ton of new individuals to work on a unit called Pico Studios, which would be a software department similar to Oculus Studios. Now, while Meta went on an acquisition spree, grabbing up a lot of the best VR game studios, there's still a ton of untapped skill overseas that would be easier for ByteDance to work with. So we might be getting yet another branch of new exclusive titles, which on one hand sounds absolutely terrible in the niche market of VR, but at the same time, we really need some competition in this industry. With Meta currently pushing their efforts beyond just gaming, and ByteDance moving Pico in the opposite direction, it might only be a few short years before Pico overtakes Meta in terms of high-end gaming. Now, I can see the comments already. Great news, we get to choose between Facebook or the Chinese government. And you're right, so I guess pick your poison. But also remember that the PlayStation VR 2 and the Valve Deckard are on the horizon, so the landscape of VR gaming is definitely going to change over the next few years. But go ahead and drop a comment on what you expect is going to happen, or what you're most excited for. That was today's weekly news. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.